Hi. So I have a reading here that's heavy and a bit sad, but that's the reality of the time that we're in. And it's hitting me hard because we're getting some projections of the numbers of people they expect to die from this illness. I'm going to call it illness 19 because if you use the proper name, somehow I heard that YouTube will not want people to see your video. Because they're afraid of disinformation. I'm not a doctor. We're just reading cards, reading spirit messages here. So that's clear. So anyway, I wanted to ask and see if we can get insight into, are these numbers real? Is it really going to be as big as they're saying? When I heard 100,000 yesterday, I thought they must be exaggerating, like they're throwing out this ridiculously high number so that it's going to be so much less than that, and they're going to look like heroes. But then today, it was more like 100,000, 200,000, 240,000, and it just seems so unreal to me, because then I realized, so 100,000 is like, that's real? Like, that's real? If not more. And so that's what this read is on. And so the first two cards we have here, Queen of Wands covered by this Five of Cups. Now, Queen of Cups. Oh, interesting, because they're both cups and they're both emotion and they're both so much grief. And I see this queen, I see actually as the illness, because for me, I was listening to Third Eye Champagne. It's a psychic reader, and she's great. And she refers to the illness as a she, as a sort of female spirit. And not to say that, evil or anything like that, but just she explains it in great depth and clarity, and it's really interesting. But I'm just going to say that for me, I know that this is representing the illness and the loss, and I'll say that what I feel from it is deep grief, which is how I know it's not, if it is a female, it's not mean, it's grieving and sad, and these tears of the suffering at this time, and then the loss. So this is like for me, from the card, saying this is the illness, and here we are in the feeling of it. And here on the surface, yes, this is people dying, and this is people restrained in their homes. Like for me, I'm a homebody and I'm fine being home, but I know it's hard for other people. But no matter what, it's signifying that we're all home, and this blindfold, sort of like we can't really see what's happening out here. And this is what I'm struggling with, is that it's so quiet being home all the time, and there's no cars, there's no traffic, there's no people going to work. Oops. It's like so silent for everybody, and at the same time, the most dramatic thing that our country and world has ever experienced is happening somehow out there. I mean, we can turn on the news, but it's just numbers and projections and conversations and maybe like, some videos from afar, but we don't understand like that people are going through this terrible illness and loss unless you're going through it, or maybe have a family member, and even then you can't be with them. It's very sad. And painful, and I've gotten this card for this illness before, and I feel the pain in the chest and the lungs. So that's where we are. Leaving the situation, which is good, and I feel a weight being lifted with the leaving of all the fighting that's been going on, just the anger at the disinformation, the wrong numbers, or the wrong, information being put out every day, and just everybody fighting. No, you got to be truthful, you got to be honest. Why aren't you supplying the things? Why aren't you stepping up? And then all the governors having to fight, and not that they want to fight with each other, but having to battle it out for who gets the supplies. I mean, this is America. I mean, like, we're supposed to be the richest country in the world, and everybody. So anyway, it's fine. Our system, our government is finally stepping up and saying everybody's going to get everything they need. We're getting the production going. I mean, this should have happened a month ago, maybe even more. but it's finally happening now. And what's going to move forward is just, we're going to sit and wait and watch. And I feel this as more solitude, and I feel the heavy grief, but it's more of a silent grief and sort of a disbelief. But for me, I'm feeling a disbelief. I think the card is saying we wait and we watch and see what happens. I think we're all going to be feeling a tower almost every day. And for some reason, I don't know if I've already said this, but I feel like it's like the next 4 weeks. The question was, is 100,000 people, is that really how high it's going to get? And when I was shuffling the cards, I thought, how can Spirit show me, yes, 100,000 is realistic and right for the outcome of this? And, I thought, what card could show me that? And I literally saw this card in my mind's eye. I'm like, well, that would be the card to say, yes, all of the number, like it's the biggest number you can, because 10, the pentacle is the biggest. And so here it is in my spread telling me yes. And that this also, next to it tells me, it's even more than we're gonna know. I think we kind of know that. I think they delayed testing, and there's some sneakiness maybe to the way they handled this the first month or two, taking forever for us to even start to be able to record the numbers. I'm glad we're there now, starting to finally do it. Some good people have stepped up. But yeah, the answer is yes. And also, a lot of readers will know that this is also represents a lot of money. And of course, that is also what is in our environment right now in the handling of this, is everybody's getting some kind of, there's the stimulus package, I think, is also represented here. And I think this is also representing that there might be some sort of like sneaky, like, oh, good, we've got $1 trillion whatever dollar. Yeah, we're going to take some over here. Like, I think that Republicans are getting away with, even more of the sort of breaks they've been giving to the richest and the powerful and the donors and the corporations and billionaires. And like, look, I understand businesses are important, but they do prove to end up, they just make themselves richer. They don't end up creating more jobs and more businesses. That doesn't work. So there's some of that in there too. I mean, the sneaky thief card is in there, and I think it applies to both the numbers, and which we're reading on, but also a little message here about maybe some of the money being allotted to people. The tower, I think that we're going to have little tower moments every day for the next 4 weeks. I think that we're going to be, and I see this, we're on our computers, we're looking at the world, the World Wide Web, and we're just seeing, not only in our lives, God forbid, our families, friends, but our friends' lives and their families, and even just beloved, celebrities, sports figures. Like, we don't know day by day. It's going to be every day. Just a shock. Like, and I feel the shock being a sort of sitting in silence kind of shock. And nobody knows at this point how it's going to affect you personally, or if it's going to be more of watching from afar. So that's coming. And that's, as heavy as that is, I get to the end and these cards are so light. And it's like, I feel a weight lifted when I pick up these cards. And we're going to have, the outcome of this will lead us to a better future. We're going to have better systems put into place, a better serving of the people, and, safety nets, making sure everybody's taken care of. There's no excuse. And I think that this illness is going to highlight things that are wrong, those things will crumble away, and we'll rebuild a more sort of like community leader sort of government that's by the people, for the people kind of thing. Taking care, healthcare. I think we're all going to care a lot about healthcare. We're all going to care. I think we're all even just looking at realizing that people who make minimum wage don't even make a living wage. It's not fair. These people, and like, how do corporations treat their workers? Are they offering, like, we're seeing the corporations that are just like, you can't have sick time off. People should not be such slaves to the corporations they work for. It has to work better. And the government, we pay taxes to a government. They better be ready to take care of us when there are disasters. And so there's that. Healthcare workers. I don't know if I mentioned when I pulled over this card, this is happening out there, and it's dramas. And we're kind of at home where it's quiet, but they're out there in the mess of it. They're out there. It's like a battlefield, and they are the heroes of this time. And we're going to start elevating the right people, and we're going to be inspired by that. And we're not going to argue anymore about who's great, because we're going to, we're not going to celebrate mean, nasty people, or it's not going to be about winning. It's going to be about integrity and who rose up during this time. And I think even like politicians, and we think of politicians as a bad word because someone has convinced us that it is. It's not. Those are community leaders. Some of them reach the highest levels, even to the presidency, and that's what we're going to elevate more, is people who want to work for the people and who do a really good job, and these people are going to rise, and the others who are bad people, who are in it for the wrong reasons, are going to fall. And we're going to just all become more neighborly and better to each other, and you already see it happening, people wanting to reach out and help one another, even though we are stuck at home. In general, it's a sweeter time, a more generous time, more neighborly time, not just, our neighbors here, but our neighbors across borders. We all are in this together. We're all one human race. We all affect each other. I mean, I think this could wake us up with the global warming also. We need to be making sure we're taking care of each other and the earth, and just have a simpler time. It doesn't have to be about winning. It doesn't have to be about getting, to be the richest or whatever. Let's just be good people and have a simpler, this is sort of a nostalgia for a simpler time, which I think we'll get there. So it's a nice outcome if there has to be a lesson in all of this. We will come out better people and a better system. And in the meantime, I hope everyone's, taking care of themselves. We're all going to be going through this together. So just, stay healthy, be in touch with your loved ones, take care of yourselves, and, we'll get through it. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you for the next read. Bye.